let's come to this side of the Atlantic and the horrible events at UCLA and at Columbia University and other universities as well. Is Netanyahu behind the repression of free speech on American college campuses?
I mean, I've been saying if these students were protesting for the climate or something that's officially approved that could advance the imperatives of billionaires who want to, like, I don't know, cash in on renewable energy, there wouldn't have been this kind of police response. They would have let them just camp out until the end of the semester, and then they would have mostly gone home. But that's not the case. I mean, we are kind of living in Netanyahu's America. Just look at New York Mayor Eric Adams and the NYPD and their relationship with the Israeli government. If you don't believe that there is an Israeli role here, it was the NYPD that was pushing to go in, that got the context to go in based on outside agitators being on campus. Eric Adams has pledged total support to Israel. He's gone and visited Netanyahu, but it goes deeper than that. The NYPD has an office in Tel Aviv through its counterterror and intelligence division. And one of the people who's been going in and out of that office, who was a Middle East and North Africa intelligence director for the NYPD, is named Rebecca Weiner. She is a professor at Columbia SIPA alongside warmonger queens Victoria Nuland and Hillary Clinton. So she's a professor at Columbia who's also deputy chief of the NYPD's counterterror division that has an office in Tel Aviv. And she was basically working in and out of that office for many years before she's in her current role. So she was spying on the students. She appears today with Eric Adams at a press conference, and she declares that the students had dangerous ideas. She fabricates a claim that a terrorist's wife was working with the students.
This is not about students expressing ideas. It is about a change in tactics that presents a concern and a normalization and mainstreaming of rhetoric.
Is that her?
I'm not just talking about language. I'm now talking about tactics, and that's what shifted our response yesterday. But a normalization and mainstreaming of rhetoric associated with terrorism that has now become pretty common on college campuses.
So this relates directly to your column this week, Judge. She's talking about rhetoric. She's talking about speech as justification for bringing a Bearcat vehicle into campus, sending tactical teams in and mass arresting students and sending them out, not just on NYPD buses, but on MTA buses that were seized by the NYPD. That she's not talking about violence. She's talking about speech. And if you're watching this and you don't agree with the students, it doesn't matter, because hate speech is protected under the First Amendment. If you think they're anti-Semites or whatever, it doesn't matter. What she's saying, she is just directly urinating on the Constitution. And this is someone who has penetrated into Columbia University to demonize students as terrorists and paint American students as terrorists for their speech, while she's part of an NYPD division that not only has an office in Tel Aviv, but which has been exposed in a series of investigations going back to 2010 by the Associated Press for spying not only on Muslim students in the New York area, but on Muslim students as far away as Yale, which is in Connecticut, and Rutgers, which is in New Jersey. That's what her counterterror division is doing. So is
she known on the campus as a police officer who's taken an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment? And is she known on the campus as a spy?
Well, she now is. She's a spook. She worked for the National Intelligence Director at one point while she was affiliated with the NYPD's Intelligence and Counterterror Division. She's a literal spook and snitch on campus. She is exactly what the students were protesting. And like, if you watched CNN last night with their live special coverage of the repression of Columbia by militarized NYPD, you would have never heard why the students were protesting, that they were protesting a genocide or that they were demanding that their school divest from things like this. which are directly tied into the
All
war
you
state.
would have heard is that the students are anti-Israeli, not that they're pro-free speech, not that they're pro-Palestinian, not that they're anti-war, not that they're against apartheid, not that they're against genocide, not that they think that Netanyahu is a criminal, but that they're anti-Israeli. That's all you would have heard if you watched mainstream media.
Well, she's letting the cat out of the bag right there. She's saying that because she personally doesn't agree with the views of these students, that they have to be repressed, suspended, won't be allowed to graduate, kicked off campus, kicked out of the dorms they paid for. She said it herself. She said these are dangerous views that they hold, and she wouldn't want her children learning these views. And so they can't allow that on campus. She was feeding disinformation to reporters about, a terrorist's wife being on campus. I don't have time to go into the details there, but it's straight up disinformation. And CBS New York actually retracted their story that was fed to them apparently by her, but CNN has not yet retracted.